Welcome to this Aztlander YouTube channel and this presentation of A Visit to Baking Pot in the Belize River Valley of Western Belize with Jaime Awe of Northern Arizona University, former Director of Archaeology of Belize and current Director of the Belize Valley Archaeological Reconnaissance Project. This video creation is brought to you by yours truly, Jim Reed. Baking pot's current English name is usually credited to many baking pots widely found in the nearby abandoned chiclero camp. Chicleros, or chicle sap gatherers, used baking pots to boil chicle in the beginning of the 20th century. The industry and workers have left the area, but the name stuck with the ancient Maya site. Baking Pot is an ancient Maya archaeological site located in the Belize River Valley on the southern bank of the river, northeast of modern-day town of San Ignacio in the Cayo District of Belize. The first ancient settlement on the site of Baking Pot was found in the Preclassic period. However, it rose to prominence and power during the Classic period between the 5th to 8th century CE, when its population rose to 3,000 residents. Baking Pot is associated with an extensive amount of research into Maya settlements, community-based archaeology, and of agricultural production. The site possesses lithic workshops and evidence of cash cropping cacao, as well as long occupation from the Preclassic through the Postclassic periods. When village life first took off in the valley in the Preclassic period, there were many settlement areas, located especially along the Belize River. As time went on, many minor centers, as well as major Maya centers, grew to prominence in the area. Here we show the minor Maya centers. During the Classic period, Baking Pot grew to become a major Maya center, along with 11 other sites, including El Pilar, Zunantanich, Las Ruinas de Arenal, Cajalpech, Pacpictun, Black Maneri, Buena Vista del Cayo, Actuncan, Guacamayo, Lower Dover, and Lower Barton Creek. Shown together here, it was a very populated area, with much trade carried on along the rivers. Here we see a LiDAR image of Baking Pot. You can see the site was divided into two main architectural areas, with the more ceremonial structures in the northern Group A connected by a 200-meter sock bay to the southern elite residential area of Group B. An important tomb, Tomb 2, with the notable ceramics will be discussed at the end of this program, and the sweat bath and the areas where they found remnants of the famous Comcom vase will be discussed by Jaime Awe as we visit Group B in this video. In this map by Christoph Helmke, we again see the two groups and the sock bay, or major causeway. Baking Pot has major pyramidal groups with plazas, an E-group, 3 ball courts, and aguadas, or water reservoirs. Baking Pot is where the famous Comcom vase was excavated, and Jaime Awe will soon show us where. Discovered in 2015 during excavations of a rich terminal classic deposit, the Comcom vase was instantly recognized as a unique and important find. For one thing, its dedicatory date of 812 CE indicates it was made during a time when many Maya cities were in the throes of collapse. For another, it contains a remarkably long text at some 202 glyph blocks, not all of them preserved to be sure. It is not only the longest pre-Columbian text in Belize, but is in the top 10 longest Classic period texts from the entire Maya area. Third, its lengthy historical narrative detailing a series of closely spaced military engagements in the eastern Patan and the central Belize in 799 to 800 CE. I took a copy of this book by Jaime Awe, Julie Hogarth, and Christoph Helmke with me when we visited Bacon Pot. I later gifted it to Frank Dzib. I visited Baking Pot with my now good friend, young Belizean Maya glyph artist Frank Dzib. He is also known as Belize's Maya ambassador. I first contacted Frank after I saw him featured in the Nova PBS documentary, Ancient Maya Metropolis. They filmed Frank in the backyard of his family's home in the old Maya village of Uxmalcá, now called San Antonio, also located in western Belize. In the documentary, Frank created an excellent copy of the famous Cocom vase.
Around this specific time period, it is the Maya now relating to us many of the events that unfold during one of the most critical periods of their history. You had to have had a scribe who, one, knew to read Maya script, and then to be able to exactly gauge the size of these glyphs, to be able to fit all this narrative.
My name is Frank Dzib. I am from the beautiful village of Uxmalcá in Belize. I am a Yucatec Maya. Speaking Maya, I grew up learning about our culture. I grew up practicing many of the traditions that our culture has. That is where I learned how to read glyphs. It's something very special to us in Maya. I started painting on pottery. This is what I do now.
So let's now visit Baking Pot with Jaime Awe and Frank Dzib.
Welcome to Baking Pot. It's going to be a little bushy, hopefully not too buggy, but this is Group B. That's the southern section of the site core, and there's a ball court here that I think was partly excavated back in I think it was either the 60s by Bullard and Bullard. But it could have also been, Ricketson. Ricketson was here in the 1920s.
Wow.
Yeah. And, when you look at the map, like I said, this is Group B, and it links up with Group A by a causeway. The causeway runs about a few hundred meters.
Mm-hmm.
And Group B is where the royal palaces are.
Oh.
Whereas Group A has the E group, has some of the other public temples, and it also has a ball court. Baking Pot has two of the ball courts, one in the north and one in the south group.
Wow.
Yeah. So you can see it started to clear a little bit, but then the rain started to come, and so we had to slow down. So that palace building there runs, all the way to the east. Like you said, the guys are going to come in here and clear all this underbrush for us. They had started, so they widened the trail in to the plaza. This is the main, the tallest building. You can barely see it right now. At the site, at this in Group B. Alexander Hamilton Anderson in the 70s came in here, guys, when they were opening this road to the Belize River. They almost started mining this big structure here for road fill.
Oh my gosh.
And so he put a stop to it, and we've excavated some of it. There's a nice big wall that's open. But you can see it's it's about 12 to 15 meters high. So you can barely see it there. Once we get the plaza cleared, it'll be a little easy. But we're almost in the center of this courtyard. Hard to tell, right? Because of the jungle.
Right.
And I'll take you to the back where you excavated. You can see some of the walls, though, right over there of that big pyramid.
Oh my.
So I'll show you where we found the cum vase.
Oh my gosh.
Here, that's
This.
this structure is this one right here.
Uh-huh.
And then structure B1 is the big pyramid there.
Right.
And so we're going to go into this corner here where this structure corners there with B7.
Oh wow.
So if you notice, there's a stairway. We partly exposed the stair side. And I've been finding a lot of these deposits by stair sides where the stair corners with other buildings. And so...
But they were actually, it wasn't just surface debris, it was actually buried?
Yes, well, but beneath collapse.
Oh, okay.
So I said to Julie, you know, here, let's look for the stair side of that provides access into the other upper palace.
Mm-hmm.
And we started to excavate here. In fact, you can see the scar of our excavation unit that went in here. And right in here, this is the stair side outset. Right, right here. And there's the stair side. And right here, where the stair side hits the terrace of this building, right about this level, we started to run into deposits. So there's collapsed debris all on top here.
Oh, okay.
And then about here, we started to run into some of these deposits. And as we cleared the deposits, we also found one of the burials.
Oh, yeah?
There was a burial right here.
Wow.
And I think there should be an image in that
Yes.
volume there.
Male or female?
Yes, it's male.
Uh-huh.
And there you can see,
And
you
it
know,
ran
pretty
along
good
this wall.
preservation. Yes. In fact, yeah. So there you can see, right, in this image here, this is that stair side is that one right there. And this terrace wall is that terrace right there. And you can see some of the deposits that we started to come across. And then, in fact, it might show better if you come here in the shade. You won't have that kind of reflection. Yeah. So if you look here, right? That's the stair side right to my right. This is the terrace wall that have my hand on. And so we started to hit those deposits about here. And we started to take it down, you know, slowly. And then we gradually run into, we come across this burial. That was almost at floor level. Floor meaning where we're standing. And it was in some of these deposits that I was showing you before that we started to find the fragments of the cum vase.
Oh.
Now, if, you know, when you look at the full layout, in fact, this is one of our students who was excavating, some of the fragments of the cum.
Is that Sam?
I can't remember what his name was. But yeah, so, you know, if you look at this, you can see that there are several big fragments missing.
Right.
So what we want to do this summer is to excavate on the other side to look at the stair side outset there.
Huh.
Hopefully, you know, maybe we find some of the fragments.
Right.
Because one tradition that we've been recording is that often the Maya, not just at surface sites, but we see it a lot in cave sites, right? They will go in and, you know, smash an object and leave a bunch of the parts there, and then take some of them and put them somewhere else. We see it at Muknal, Chachamaha, I mean, you name the cave, but we also see it at surface sites. So our plan is to look at the stair side on the other section. And because we have the stair side, right here, this is the outset, we figured we know where the doorway is. We purposely excavated the doorway in 2019 so that we can then estimate, we can run a center line from that doorway down the steps, measure from the stair side and the stair side outset where the other stair side outset should be, and then strategically place our excavations there. So if you guys want to come up here, so I'm standing at the dead center line, right, of the stairway. And as I said, by measuring out to the stair side, we can figure out, and that's why we started to remove some of that just collapsed debris over to your left. And that's where we have our tarp over there. And hopefully we'll be able to get some guys. The plan is to get some guys in here this week. But I would have been indoors right now here. See this wall here? This is the spine wall of this room.
Oh, yeah. And that would have been a corbelled arch?
Yes.
Either side?
Yeah. And then we have rooms on both sides.
Right.
Uh-huh.
So we'd be indoor. This front wall right here would have gone up by where Frankie is and where I am. In fact, this is the inside part of the wall.
Right.
The front side obviously collapsed over time. So this wall would have gone up here and then vaulted somewhere this side.
So these are the load bearing walls too, aren't they?
Yeah, that one there.
Yeah.
You know, this is just a bench as you go through. And in 2019, we also excavated some rooms over on this side, but it's going to be a little twisty. Yeah. You can barely see some of the walls down that way. The plan is that we will, you know, I'm almost done at Shenanigans, so it's to come here and then start to really develop the site.
Good.
We just have to, like everything else, we have to secure the funding.
Yep.
The conservation isn't cheap.
No, it isn't.
And
So
does that come from universities or does that come from Belize?
you are, it's almost impossible to find conservation funding. You can get research funding, but no conservation funding. So all the conservation funding that I have been using at Shenanigans and to a large degree at Calpech has come from private donations.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Not even the universities.
No. The university will give you research money,
Right.
right? Yeah, go and excavate. But then, you know, cover back the buildings that you find. But say, you know, I need to buy, you know, lime and materials to make mortar and, you know, hire guys to then, you know, fix the walls and conserve the site. Yeah. You know, Doug Tilden, this gentleman, you know, who's, you know, I used to say, you know, Doug's an amateur archaeologist. Doug's an archaeologist. I mean, he has worked with us, you know, for over 10 years. And he's there in the trenches with us and helping to even direct some of the research. And it's through Doug's generosity that we've been able to do all that conservation work that you see at Shenanigans.
Is he from Texas?
He is originally from Boston
Oh.
and then lived for some time in San Francisco and recently moved to Tampa. Yeah. And he used to go to the Maya at the Playa.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yeah.
I think that was maybe the last time I saw you in person was when you did a ceramic
Yes.
workshop.
Yes. Let me take you to this really nice sweat bath that we found.
Oh.
It's closer that way, but it's too much in the jungle there. So I'll take you guys through the easier way, and it's going to be less buggy. Interested in contributing towards conservation purposes? Please let us know. Let them know, and you know, they can come and join us at Baking Pot and.
¿Cuánto dinero?
You know, we don't expect, you know, the way we've done work with Doug Tilden is, you know, he gives us some funding every year. You know, we make do with whatever we get every year, and we do a little bit. you know, these cities were not built overnight either.
Yeah, they weren't.
So, you know, I've been at Chinantenich now for quite a number of years. You know, every year we do a little more. So that's the approach that we take. So cross your fingers and maybe the next fragments of the Kum or maybe another Kum vase.
Oh, that would be
Well,
phenomenal.
Yeah. Will start to show up, and like I said, what we sort of started there.
But do you have any idea of where they would have originally made the vase?
Very likely in the Naranjo, greater Naranjo area.
Oh,
It's based on the type of ceramic.
Yeah, so much.
It looks like it's not a local type of ceramic.
and it's painted in the style of other painted king vases?
Yes, well, it's painted in a Codex style. And
Right.
many of those Codex style ceramic vessels are in the Eastern Peten.
Mm-hmm.
So it's somewhere, you know, in that eastern, you know, central, east central, I guess I could say. Peten region. Well-to-do city. You know, it sits right on the
River.
banks of the Belize River, so had access to trade. And also, there are some ethnohistoric reports that this area produced a lot of cacao. The soils around here are perfect for cacao growth. And
Oh, plenty of canopy too.
yeah, yes.
And I read that like Morley did calendar stuff with the hieroglyphic stairway, and then they mentioned Linda Sheely has drawings based off the photos of Morley or something.
You're talking about Naranjo?
Yeah.
I'm just breaking some of this because it's going right there. So see this green vine here?
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to get caught on it because they call it Linda Hermosa.
Uh-huh.
Antonio should know what that is, right, Antonio?
Beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, I found a chick on me today,
Yeah.
and we had eaten lunch at Kahapet.
There are no ticks up there now.
They thought maybe I got it from the dog stranger,
Oh, yeah.
but I don't know why petting a dog you get a tick. But
He's one person knocking all the spider webs down.
when I lived in Belize, I always had a spider stick.
Yeah.
You can't, yeah, that's what I was doing back there. You might not be able to see this very well, but again, you know, see how beautifully preserved it is, that baking
Oh, that's
pot.
the sweat bath.
No.
Oh.
You see, corners there, and we found more deposits there and a child sacrifice
Oh,
right in the corner. But, you know, again, nicely preserved walls. So wherever we excavate in these sort of corners where buildings meet,
Right.
we're finding a lot of deposits.
Look at all the lagoons.
well, that's so big.
So we're up on top of one of the palaces, and we're going to go down here.
Did you get a lot of howlers in here?
No, well, I mean, once in a while we hear them. Let me break this. That's the one piece there. That's there. Watch the acacia. It has ants on it.
The ant apartment building.
And those ants, pakawallop, they bite you, it really stings. They have a symbiotic relationship with the plant. They protect the plant. And they live in the little horns there on the, there's the sweat bath right there. Remember you saw the one at
Reconnaissance.
this one's better preserved. So again, watch the acacia right there. There's a good handhold with this plant. Let me see if I can, So when we excavated here, we were not expecting to find a sweat bath.
Oh my gosh!
We wanted to excavate the corner because what do we find in corners? Deposits. So we found about 3 burials in that corner.
Wow.
Yep. Mostly adults. And then as we followed the wall, we came across the sweat bath. And here you can see the sweat bath. And we have conserved this. So if you notice, this is conserved. There's even a nice stairway going up to the top of that, back of that palace there. And the sweat bath,
Oh, is it just like Campeche?
yeah, you know, low door, and you go in, and then there's steps and the fire pit, and then the high benches. So, when you come in here, see that's the fire pit. You can see it's got burning on the one side, and it starts to igloo up, vault up towards the roof. I can move out of here, and you can walk in, and you'll see the fire pit's directly ahead of you. Are you? Oh, no, I think I'm not. That's modern though. It looks like some bird.
These are the benches. That's the fire pit. Another bench.
Ah, that's right. Or maybe it's a baby dog or some possum. Yeah. So again, sweat baths aren't that common.
Right.
But now we have found one at almost every site we have worked. We have a good sense of what they look like. So, we're able to identify them when we come across them.
And did you find any, eccentric flints or caches?
The eccentric flint tradition is not as great at baking pot.
Oh, really?
Shenanigans is eccentric flint, central.
Right, yeah.
We always find that there. But we've been finding a lot of deposits in the corners of these buildings. And, there's still lots of other places we have not done a lot of excavations at Baking Pot, as you've seen.
Right.
This is where Cajalpech and Shunan were, or Cajalpech was 35 years ago.
Yeah.
So this is where we now want to start turning our attention. And the preservation here, like I said, though, is much better than at Shenanigans.
Really?
Oh yeah, this preservation is better than most sites in Belize.
Wow.
And we know the reason for it. The fill that they're using is alluvium clay. And it is solid inside.
Wow.
So it doesn't give as much. Whereas dry laid fill, a tree root gets in there and does that, and everything starts to crumble. So the preservation here really, really good.
Where were they getting their illusion? Just by the river.
Yeah, just out there. Anywhere in the field, they're gonna
There
get
it is, right there.
Yes. Yeah, you can see right at the back, it's sort of partly curved like the one at Shenanigans, and that's where they were burning. And you notice how high the benches?
Yes.
Benches in sweat baths are always higher than in palaces
Wow.
because heat rises. So you want to sit up high
Yep.
and let the heat come up.
Yeah.
And,
Just let the sweat roll off.
yeah.
So there was an air hole above the one in Cahopesh?
Possibly, yes, but those are curtain holders.
Oh, those were in the doorways.
Yes,
Right, but didn't the one
and
above the doorway?
unfortunately, the preservation on top of the door didn't show any,
Yeah.
but it likely had one.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
So it wasn't an anomaly, a tough
No.
one. Yeah.
But again, you look at that stairway, just below surface, and it's preserved.
Yeah.
You don't. That's not normal at most sites. But baking pot, really good preservation. And one of the reasons too we'd like to see this developed is that, look at the access. You don't have to build, a huge highway or road getting, to get to the site. You're right off the highway. You can drive in. It's on government property, so we don't have to purchase the property.
Right.
It's just so convenient in so many ways. We have water, electricity, right there at the
Right.
research center. So we can, we can bring in water for conservation purposes. It's just, yeah, it lends itself.
I like carousel.
Yeah. So this is our, this is the future goal of our project now. Come up with a
Great.
baking pot.
Well, thank you, Jaime.
Yes, I guess now you've seen sites at different stages of their development, right?
2 sweat baths.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was impressed with everything Terry's doing at Bakbitun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what will you be presenting about?
So, my presentation at the Belize Symposium has to do with, in many ways, it has to do with those deposits.
Oh,
What
yeah.
is it? What's happening when all, everything's coming down for the Maya, right? When this society, this civilization that they have developed has started to disintegrate. And one of the things that we've noticed is that one of the responses is, when do you pray the most?
When the shit hits the fan.
Or when you are in deep shit.
Yeah.
Right? It's the same thing.
Yeah.
And so we think a lot of these deposits have to do with people coming, the site's already being abandoned, but these are sacred places.
Mm-hmm.
So you come here to petition your ancestors.
Yeah.
You also go to caves. We see an increase in cave activity around the same time period because they're petitioning, right, again, gods that inhabit the underworld. And those are the gods of fertility. Right? That's the rain god that inhabits the underworld. That's the womb of the earth and the earth gods. And so my presentation will be looking at cross-cultural responses to stress or
okay.
collapse, right?
Yeah.
And what leads to collapse. And I'm looking at evidence not just of the Maya, but I'm also looking at places like Brazil. You wouldn't think, you think drought, you wouldn't think Brazil. I'm looking at places like the Dust Bowl in America. I'm looking at places like in Africa,
Oh, yeah.
in New Guinea, and also in parts of Spain, and comparing how the humans respond, and then look at how the Maya responded. The pattern is incredible,
Wow.
consistent, cross-culturally.
Yeah. Huh.
So that's what I'm doing.
So let's take a quick visit to Group A, where an interesting tomb was excavated in 2002. Designated as Tomb 2, archaeologists encountered the remains of a female, over 45 years of age, interned with a mother-of-pearl shells, 12 spondylus shells, 2 canine pendants, 2 jade beads, a single jade ear flare, and most importantly, 8 polychrome painted dishes featuring different animal designs. Here we have these intertwined serpents. Here, a stylized bird and a water lily jaguar. And here, an armadillo and a deer. With these, we conclude our visit to Baking Pot. A special thanks to Jaime Awe for this interesting personal tour of Baking Pot. And Jaime, I hope you find more pieces of the Comb vase soon. Also, a heartfelt thank you to Frank Dzib for his friendship and this great guitar playing. Please subscribe to our Aztlander YouTube channel. To receive monthly free issues of the Aztlander e-magazine, contact your host Jim Reed at mayaman@bellsouth.net. Thanks for watching.